Hello, it's Jimmy. Today I want to talk about wills and estate planning. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you are not going to live forever. Nobody likes to think about it, but you need to. You need to think about what's going to happen to your stuff when you're gone. It isn't kind to leave a mess for others to clean up when you will not be around, so having a will and estate plan is a good way to kind of ease the burden, although hopefully they miss you when you're gone. Having a will help them understand how you wanted your things to be sorted out. I learned a lot about the importance of having a will when my mother passed away, although her estate was insolvent, which is a fancy legal word for meaning she was dead-ass broke. It was still helpful to have the will so that I could take care of certain things, even as banal as returning the cable box back to Xfinity. They don't seem to care that the person who had the cable box is no longer with us. I just want to make sure that you have the legal authority to bring the damn box back. A year later, my grandmother passed away, and she lived in a different state, so the laws were a little bit different. Now, I was able to take some of the general information and knowledge that I gained from dealing with my mother's estate and help my uncle, as he was the executor of grandmother's estate. A big difference there was grandma was not insolvent. She actually kind of knew what she was doing with money and was being responsible with what she had. So it was a little bit easier to help my uncle. Having gone through it just a year before, it made it a little bit easier for both of us to take that task on. I did my will and estate plan just a couple of years ago, albeit a little late to the party. I probably should have done one many years ago, but better late than never. Putting the will and estate plan together was an excellent opportunity for me to examine the things that are important in my life. Having an understanding of how those assets would be beneficial to others in the future, it was really kind of a good exercise. Not something you really sit around and think about a lot until the opportunity comes up, but glad I went through it so that I could make some well-informed decisions about what to do with those assets. I want to give you 3 pieces of advice that is knowledge I gained from this experience. 1, work with an estate attorney, somebody that handles wills, probate, estate law. If they're geeked up about that specialization, they're going to be much more valuable to you. Don't just pick the first bus bench lawyer that you come across and hope that they can handle that for you. And try to find an attorney, if applicable to you, that shares the same faith and values that you do. The attorney that we used is in the same synod or church denomination that my wife and I are, so it made it a lot easier to have that common language. He knew the different entities within our church body and a lot of the acronyms and just the way things work in our synod, so it made the process a lot smoother just speaking that common language. Number 2, if you name someone in your will, make sure you talk to them before you die. Meaning, if you're going to put them in the will, I would maybe let them know well before you even have the will in place. In 2 instances where this is critical. 1, if you name somebody as the executor or personal representative, be sure you have that conversation with them before you name them in the will. For a number of reasons. 1, that person may not want to do it. It's a little bit burdensome to do it, and not everybody's equipped to do it. There's a lot of administration. It's not difficult, but it does take a lot of time and a little bit of knowledge of the law. Not a great deal, but just enough so that they don't get into trouble. So talk to that person first. Make sure that they're accepting of it and that they're going to be up to the task. Other people you're going to want to talk to, if you name them in the will, is anybody that will be getting any of your property. Make sure they understand what they're getting and why. If it's a sentimental item or a piece of furniture, for example, that's been in the family for many years, make sure they understand that and why you think that they should get it. If it's a significant amount of money, maybe you don't need to let them know what the amount is, but that you have them named in the will, just so that they are aware of that when the time comes. Hopefully they aren't waiting around for your untimely demise. You have somebody like that, maybe don't put them in the will. But typically it's better if everybody knows what's going on. The Hollywood version of the family gathering in the walnut paneled lawyer's office is a thing of fantasy that just doesn't happen. Typically, the will gets broken out shortly after the person passes away, and then the family is left kind of scratching their heads trying to figure out what to do without the presence of a lawyer. Make sure you have those things kind of taken care of well in advance. The third thing to do that I would recommend is make sure that you have all the beneficiaries named on the different accounts, checking, savings, even the bank box, any like HSA, retirement accounts, and even if you own a home, if you own real estate, some jurisdictions you need to have a transfer on death deed in place filed with the county where that property is located. Just makes the process a little smoother for the executor when that time comes. A good estate planning attorney is going to help you with these things, kind of help you come up with a checklist of places where you need to designate beneficiaries, and even things like the transfer on death title. I didn't know such a thing existed, but our attorney was pretty sharp and he helped us go through that process. Having a will or estate plan in place is great, but it's just one part of the overall picture. You will probably need to look at giving someone power of attorney should something happen to you where you're not able to make decisions. And along those lines, a health care directive or living will is important to have in place for things that don't necessarily result in death immediately, but where you need to have somebody else taking charge of your affairs. Everybody needs a will. If you're over 18, even if you have no assets, it's good to have a will. And certainly if you have dependents or a large estate, that's going to be an important thing. Everybody's going to die. Please don't leave a mess to those left behind to clean it up. Well, that's all I've got to say about wills and estate plans for today. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you're having a great day. Have our estate broken into? We don't want our estate broken into.